Welcome back to Bad Movie Friday.
Yeah. Although, we were literally just looking it up. We're like 4 for 5 kind of okay movies for the return of Bad Movie Friday.
Yeah, these have been pretty decent lately.
Although I will say, there's been a few movies that Ty has vetoed that I think would have been worse. Like, The Goldfinch is out, and it's apparently a catastrophe of a movie.
I vetoed The Goldfinch.
But Ty will not let me see.
No.
And there was another one, too. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was the Dog in the Rain movie. He wouldn't let me see that either. But most of the movies we've seen since we've came back have at worst been like okay, and some of them have been pretty good.
Yeah.
So what did we see today, Ty?
Today we saw Rambo: Last Blood.
Rambo: Last Blood. I've never seen any Rambo movies, so I went into this completely cold.
I've seen a handful of Rambo, and I'm very much aware of the series.
And I think this movie was hard to read until the end, and we'll get there. But I really like this movie. I think
it's very campy, and
it's really campy. And the debate Ty and I were having is like, how intentionally campy is it? like, is this we're violent because the people who want to see this movie are like, they have a bloodlust, or is this violent because it is camp?
Well, all right, to start things off, it's Rambo. Sly Stallone plays the titular Rambo. He's got an adopted daughter who goes to Mexico to meet her real dad, gets kidnapped for days.
And gets addicted to heroin, I think.
Yeah,
they addict her to heroin.
Yeah, shoot her up with heroin. Rambo murders a bunch of dudes, pulls her out of there, brings her home, goes back, murders one of the brothers, and then all the other guys come to him.
Right.
And then he murders the shit out of them.
And that's almost the entire plot. They have like a very small subplot about a reporter, but she's barely in the movie. Like, I thought it was going to go somewhere, and then it just didn't.
She services the plot to be like, because he doesn't know Mexico, so she's like his eyes there, where it's like, right. I need to find this guy. That's too many consonants. Find guy.
He mumbles a lot in this movie.
He mumbles in all his movies now.
Yeah.
So, the question I had for Greg was, is this movie ironic? And who is this movie for?
I think it is ironic. I think. Just from like several like little things. And so when you see the preview for this movie, living in our current political climate, I assumed this was going to be kind of like a Death Wish type thing, where it was going to be like very pro-America, very anti-Mexican, because the commercials make it look like all Mexicans are gangsters and they're invading our homes. And while that does, like, those elements are there, I didn't get any like undertones of like, this is what all Mexicans are like, or they're coming for us.
Yeah, I didn't think there was
right
anything like that.
Me neither. Like, I thought this was relatively an apolitical movie.
Yeah, I think on the camp and who is it for, I think this is just for people who like action movies.
I think so too.
It's like the same type of people who like look forward to seeing Saw movies or Halloween movies, or not Halloween, but Hostel. It's like, I want to see some brutal death.
This is kind of a horror movie. It's like an action horror movie.
Yeah.
But that's not the audience who was there.
Yeah, the audience was...
It was a bunch of old people. I mean, like, really old people. I mean, like, when people are leaving the theater, they're like, wow, that was really violent. That's what the lady in front of me said.
The guys who...
And it is. I mean, this was incredibly... People were exploding into seas of mist.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were getting impaled and then heads blown off and stuff.
A lot of people have been calling this like the Home Alone of Rambo movies, and it
sure is.
And people always make the jokes like, "Oh, they should remake Home Alone now," and they did with Rambo.
This is it. Go look at it.
There you go.
There's like the entire. It's almost a shot-for-shot Home Alone montage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's just like, I don't know. The previews make this look like it's for old conservatives. And that is not what this movie is for.
Oh, no.
There's no way. Like, do not take your old conservative grandpa to this movie. Unless he has also seen some, like, Vietnam shit. And then definitely don't take him to this movie. This movie is not for him.
No,
but I don't... It was fun. It was good, campy fun. If you have to be willing to ignore a few things, like, there is a female in this movie who is there specifically to get kidnapped and raped and die.
Yeah.
And that's bad. Like, that's not good movie writing anymore.
Yeah, I really think if they would have gone like a little bit more Death Wish, to where like she's just in the hospital, but they're still
Right.
coming for us. Like, we're not gonna stop till we get our property back. SA. Was that too much? Or?
I think we're fine.
But yeah, if they're like they specifically say like these women aren't women; they're just things.
Right.
So if they're like, you took our property, she's ours now.
Yeah.
She got the mark on her face, so we're not going to stop until she's back with us. And he's
Yeah.
like, come on, give me.
I think like the current cliche that I'm surprised didn't go with this is that he gets her back and then she helps kill with him.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where this movie would go nowadays, but that didn't happen at all. And so, there was definitely some
We were talking to a
poor
friend.
judgment of, yeah.
We were talking to a friend, and she was basically like, yeah, well, that's what happens. Rambo meets a girl, girl dies, Rambo goes apeshit.
Sure, and she's seen the movies, we have not. So I guess this is a Rambo trope even of itself.
Yeah. So I wish that would have been kind of the twist on the trope, where it's like,
Right.
and now the girl who has been kidnapped and violated gets some of her power back by
Right,
killing
get some
the.
revenge.
Instead, she just kind of heroin dies in his car
Yeah.
after she gets rescued.
It's a little sad.
It's a bit of a bummer.
This movie, Sylvester Stallone, while not a tremendous actor by any means, and certainly not you can't understand a lot of what he says. He does have a very sympathetic face,
Yeah.
which really works for this movie. Like, tough guy who is sad,
He
who
looks
has
like-
had a lifetime of sadness.
He looks like your beaten down grandpa.
Yeah, who's like really seen some stuff that you all know happens, but he doesn't want to talk about. But he spends every moment trying not to think about that stuff. He does a good job. I think Sylvester Stallone's actually pretty good in this movie.
Yeah, I think it's
If
fine.
he could just enunciate a little bit more, I think he would have been really good. And there's a few scenes where like they kind of linger on him, and he kind of just looks like a lost grandpa. But I think that's the director's fault, not Sylvester Stallone's fault. But I thought this movie was pretty well directed too. Like,
yeah, there's some good. There's a few shots that are a bit wonky. That does
Right.
linger a little bit.
right.
But once it gets to the action, man,
It's great
it is
action. And they
phenomenal
do
done.
that thing that's tremendous where they set up the scene. Like they twice they go through the tunnels with you to sort of help you lay out where things are and help you figure out what these guys are about to encounter.
It's straight out of Home Alone. He's like,
yeah.
Kevin's putting down the Christmas bulbs, and Stallone's putting up the big
Right.
bar with the metal jutted into it.
And Home Alone does a tremendous job of walking you through that house so you always know where everybody is at all times. This movie does a pretty good job with that too.
Yeah.
You always know where everyone is. It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I fucking like this movie.
It was a good time. You can't if you try to go into it and be like, it's like, oh well, I'm gonna hate this because masculinity
Right.
and
I
it's
wanted to hate it. I really did. I'm like, this is going to be miserable. Like, Ty and I are going to have another one of those long political discussions, and it's like, which we've had. I
Yeah,
mean,
we have.
you know, like, there have been. Death Wish is a great example of that because Death Wish was a fucking weird ass movie. It was like really pro guns and also really anti gun.
yeah. Check out our Death Wish review if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's some good discussion.
That was a weird movie. That was also Death Wish. I actually also kind of liked, even
Yeah.
though it wasn't a great movie. There's these like mid-budget dumb action movies kind of work for me. Like, this is not a great movie, but it's a reasonable hour and a half if you can deal with hyper violence.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is hyper violent.
The first violent thing we see is Stallone like uses the end of his knife.
Oh my god,
to,
I couldn't
to
even
break
believe
a
it.
dude's rib, stab him in the leg, and then he reaches in and starts ripping the dude's rib out.
Right, he's just like breaking the rib. He just like sticks his thumb in and rips his rib out.
It's like he went to Chili's. And he wants that baby back ribs.
Yeah, exactly.
This video not sponsored by Chili's.
I wish. No, I don't wish.
Secaucus Chili's.
So
we're looking at you.
Chili's, we're coming for you this weekend. We're gonna walk right by and not go in. I don't care how many times I get gypped by their delicious Chili's menu. Every year, Ty and I go to the same Chili's, and every year it is literally the worst restaurant experience of my year.
It is.
Sometimes they just forget about us. They once gave me a gin and tonic without any gin in it. I don't even think it was tonic. I think it was seltzer.
Yes.
They gave me a seltzer water and then charged me for a gin and tonic. I hate that Chili's.
You should go set up a bunch of traps and then call them to come over.
Yeah, and then I can impale them with a giant spike. And this is my favorite part of this movie. Stallone never lets anybody die. Like, so they'll get
Oh my
impaled
God.
by spikes, and they'll just be like dead. And then he runs by and still shoots them in the face.
Oh, it's so overkill, and it's wonderful. I mean, on one hand, it's supposed to signify his rage. Like, even though these guys have fallen into a pit, they have spikes impaled all over their body, he still stands over them and just unloads with a machine
An
gun.
entire machine
into their
gun
body.
clip into him.
Which part of me thinks it's like, okay, well, yes, he's got that rage, but I also think it was supposed to be so the guys know where he is so they can follow him into the next traps.
Maybe, but still very funny.
But it's still, he's just like, a dude gets impaled through the throat, and he just stems up behind him and just unloads and just blows his head off with a shotgun. It's nuts.
So this movie ends with a montage of like all the other Rambo movies. And this is when it all clicked for me, because again, never seen any Rambo movies. Minus First Blood, which, you know, the first movie, which I think is a little bit of an outlier. And I never realized how campy all of these movies were. Because this montage basically just showed nothing but campy bullshit.
He's mud, and he just
like
sneaks up
completely
behind
covered in
someone.
mud, and just like you see his eyes, and he comes out and stabs some guy, or he's like wrestling a cobra, and there's one scene where he's just shooting computers. Like, I don't know why he was doing that, but boy was it fucking weird. Yeah, so like they just show this montage of like his greatest camp scenes, and apparently this is just it. This is just Rambo movies. They're all weird, campy bullshit.
I honestly feel like the end montage was as a reminder to just be like, we did some heavy shit in this movie, but don't take it too seriously, because it's Rambo.
It's Rambo, guys. You all, what did you expect? He machine guns computers.
So, final thoughts on this one?
See this movie, but like you gotta be in the right mood. Don't pay too much. If you have like something to do and you just want to watch something, put something on, kind of a good movie for that. And it's hyper violent. Don't watch it with your squeamish girlfriends. Don't watch it with your parents. Definitely don't watch it with your grandparents.
Unless they like that kind of thing, you know.
Well, sure, if they like that kind of shit, like that's fine. But like, don't think this is a
Don't go
family
cold
movie.
into this.
No, dude, no. This might be one of the most violent, just like blanket violent movies I've ever seen.
That's not like a legit horror movie.
Right, that's not
Absolutely.
a horror movie, or like to an extent like a Tarantino movie. Like this movie like reminded me of like Kill Bill. Like that was so violent they need to put it in black and white or it was going to get an NC-17 rating.
And I wonder if if this movie came out then, would they have put that in black and white?
I don't know.
Because I feel like maybe
so violent.
things have opened up a lot, and it's not like, maybe that was just a stylistic choice, but Tarantino said that to...
I don't think it was.
Yeah?
I don't think it was. From my understanding, no. Because he kept talking about putting it out, like the real one, at NC-17. Regardless, I mean, it was hyper violent. You just have to be prepared for that.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say run to theaters, but once it hits like on demand or like a rental, hit the red box.
This is worth $5.
This is a good one.
$5 of enjoyment.
Grab your friends, grab some beer.
It is fun.
Yeah,
like
it's
I
fun.
was laughing throughout this movie, but not in like a terrible way. Like I was just having a good time.
There are the downer points. Like I wish they would have handled the death of the lady better.
Super rapey. This is not polite to women.
But luckily, I mean, they don't show anything.
They don't show anything, but it's a little hard to watch. Yeah. Honestly,
it has this like squirm in the seat,
right? Which was the intent, and it worked.
Yeah,
it's a bad trope, but I mean, it was effective. But you have to be cognizant of that. It's not all gory fun. There is some heavy themes.
There is a good 20 minutes that you might want to just you know have a conversation about anything else through
anything else, just anything.
But yeah.
Yeah, see this movie, I guess.
Yeah, check this one out. It's a pretty good Rambo movie and a really good Home Alone movie.
Yeah. Ty and I are New York Comic Con this weekend.
Yep.
I guess when this video goes up.
It'll be the 4th,
5th, and 6th. We're in New York Comic Con. Come see us.
Yep, come see us. Cooper Cade booth. We'll be there, hanging out. Mark will be there.
Yeah,
the whole crew's together.
The whole WCWTF crew will be there. Yeah, come check us out. Say hi.
All right, I've been the man of 1,004 movies. Tyrell, First Blood Part 2. Find me on Twitter at 1004 names.
I'm Killer Greg. You can find me at KillerGreg17 on Twitter.
And until next time, keep watching bad movies.
Yeah.
Oh, the camera's over that way.
Oh.
This is a bad ending.
No.